Alright guys, so today I'll be showing you how to load your first set of graphics into our game. So today we're going to be loading our main menu graphics in our game, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to load textures and how to use the resource manager. So the first thing we want to do is just right click on your assets manager, and we need to create a new folder. And this folder is going to be called GFX for graphics, and this is where we're going to be storing all of our graphics. So if you haven't already, make sure you download the 2D physics game folder that I provide for this project, and make sure you extract the file to your desktop or wherever you want, and make sure you have a folder that looks like this 2D side scroller, and inside you should see a whole bunch of graphics. So the first thing we want to do is just go ahead and copy this background image. Just copy this, and I actually made this background, so you guys should give me a round of applause for my great graphic designing skills. So just right click on that and hit copy, and just paste that into graphics, and there you go. And then we also need our button. We need this play button here because we're going to be using that too. So go ahead and copy this, copy, and we're going to paste that also. Okay, so now what we need to do is, since we have our graphics set up and our graphics inside of our folders in the project, we can now use them. So go to your resource manager, and we need to create a few or two variables, or actually three. So let's go ahead and just put this in caps and just type in textures. So this way you know where our textures are located. So the first thing we want to do is just do a private buildable bitmap texture atlas, and it's going to be main menu texture atlas. And the atlas, if you didn't read in the basic concepts of an engine, is basically like a paint or a piece of paper or a canvas, if you will, and over that canvas we can paint our textures so that way we can use them in our game. And that's basically all it is. You really don't need to think about it too much though. And we also need to create a private, actually public, and this is going to be iTexture region and play button, and the other one's going to be main menu background. All right, and let's import this iTexture region. All right, so now we need to go ahead and create a method to load our main menu graphics. So do public void load game, load menu resources, and create another method, private void load menu graphics, and another called private void load menu sounds. And these both are pretty much self-explanatory. So now in our load menu graphics, we need to call load menu graphics here and call load menu sounds. So this way, when this method is called from outside of this class, it will go ahead and call both of these methods to load the resources. So in the load menu graphics class or graphics method, we can now start coding or start loading our textures that we will use in our awesome main menu. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and set the buildable bitmap texture atlas texture region factory. Hopefully I typed all that right, and it looks like I did. And set asset based path to GFX. So we're basically telling it to, this is where it can locate all of our graphics files in that GFX folder. Next thing is we need to go ahead and do this main menu texture atlas equals new buildable bitmap texture atlas activity dot get texture manager, and we also need to pass it the size of the atlas, which is going to be 1024 by 1024, which is the max size. We can actually go up to 248 and higher, but a lot of Android devices may not support the 248 textures, but most devices nowadays support 1024. So try to stay under 2048 when creating texture atlases. And next is texture options, and we're gonna go the bilinear whatever, that pre-word there, and there we go. So next thing we need to do is we need to do this main menu background equals the bitmap texture atlas texture region factory dot create from asset. And what we're going to do is we're going to pass it the main menu texture atlas, and then we're going to do activity dot get assets, and then we're just going to pass it the texture, which is the background PNG. Alright, so that's our main background. And next we need the play button. So let's go ahead and do this. Play button equals bitmap texture atlas texture region factory create from asset, and we're going to pass it the main menu texture atlas, and we're going to do activity dot get assets, and pass the play. What is it? Let's look at the texture here and see what it is. What it's called. It's called play.png. Play.png. And forgot the Y. Because make sure you have all those right. If you had the name wrong, you'll get an error saying that it can't find the file. So just make sure these names correspond to the textures here in your graphics folder. So alright guys. The next thing we need to do is we need to do the bitmap spawn texture, or we need to do something that helps for texture bleeding that we basically need to do anytime we're loading textures on our own. Alright, so now the next thing we need to do is pretty simple. We're just going to do try, and inside of this is going to be this main menu texture atlas, and we're going to do build, and this is going to be new black spawn texture atlas builder, and add some greater than less than signs, I bitmap texture atlas source, and comma, this is going to be bitmap. I'm getting kind of long here. Add a press enter to make a new line, and this is going to be the bitmap texture atlas, and it needs some parameters here, so just go ahead and go outside of here and add some parentheses, and you're going to do 0, 0, 1, and you end it. Alright, and so we can go ahead and do a catch, and I believe this catch is going to be a input output, I believe. And actually no, we need to go ahead and we need to load it. So we need to do this main menu texture atlas and then call load on it. And this catch is going to be catch, and it's going to take an error of a texture atlas builder exception, and E is going to be his name, and we're going to do debug E and E. So let's go ahead and import some of this stuff. Let's import the black spawn texture. I typed it wrong. It actually should be black pawn texture atlas. And import the iBitmap texture atlas source and the bitmap texture atlas itself. Alright guys, so we just created our first set of textures that we can load now and use in our game, and that's pretty much it. for loading the basic graphics. So in the next tutorial or the next section, I'll be showing you guys how to load or how to create a scene of type base scene. So that's all to come in the next section, and I'll see you guys later.